What's up, everybody? Gaijin Guinea Pig here, and we're going to check out the Year 7 anniversary broadcast for Dead by Daylight. It's currently going on live right now. I think there's like 3 minutes left on the counter as of me doing this intro, so I'm going to shrink myself, get up in the corner, and then we'll blow up the broadcast in full screen mode so we can see what's going on and what kind of surprises they have in store for us, okay? So let's do that. All right, so I'm up here in the corner now. We got 30 seconds to go. We're live. We're checking out this stream as it happens. Dead by Daylight. There's probably no other game in my life, in my collection, that I have a greater love-hate relationship with. PS5. I play it on PS5, and I put in a lot of time on that thing. It says 910 hours, so I do play it, but this game has so many issues that I don't want to rant and go on and on about that, but maybe afterwards. We'll see what's up.
So let's talk through what you're going to see today. We're going to kick things off with the Year 8 roadmap that's going to show you everything that's coming across the year to DBD. Following that, we're going to take you through the reveal of our next chapter, which is some incredible original stuff you're not going to want to miss.
This game needs a sequel so bad.
We've got gameplay updates. After that, we've got quality of life updates. And then a new segment has come to the show. This is actually something that's really cool. We're going to take you beyond the core game of DBD to show you how we're expanding other places and in other ways that you might not be expecting.
First and foremost, of course, there are going to be, again, 4 new chapters that include killers. But in a strange twist, what you will notice on the graphic today is that there are also 2 survivor-only chapters being released in this next year.
A lot to unpack, changing the pace a little bit, but it's not straying too far away from what we've been used to over the past. As is tradition, we will be actually taking a peek at the next upcoming chapter, an original one, any segment that follows very shortly after this one. Again, we're exploring another theme we really haven't had the chance to in the past, so that's pretty exciting, both in terms of the characters and the team we're exploring with it. The next 2 killers that will follow after that are going to be licensed, and I would say licensed with a big L, if I can.
Really get your wallets ready.
To the game, extremely excited to be able to talk a little bit
This game loves taking your money.
Unfortunately, a
pillar
I think I'm so highly critical of this game because I want it to be something that it's not.
We're calling this pillar. We do plan on taking our 4 sort of
it's so close to being good,
even bigger, even better than they have been in the past, including last year's Halloween, which we plan on sort of one-upping again this year. But in addition to those 4 pillar events, we're also going to look at adding a few more smaller events.
Add pumpkins and shitty cosmetics.
For those of you who have been with us for a long time.
Yes, I'm super excited for when we're able to share a little bit more information with everybody about that initiative.
Why go on this broadcast and talk about stuff that you can't talk about?
Revamping our sort of streaming strategy.
So stupid.
We want to make sure that we're able to, which is live balance.
This game has no balance, so I don't know how you're going to do that.
Something I spend a lot of time thinking about and worrying about. And something that I won't go too deep into today, because we will be talking about our live balance plans in a little bit, right?
Yeah, we'll have Nat and Jeff coming up in a future segment and talk about
balance.
the type of projects we have planned.
So I don't know how they're going to figure that out.
Specifically, very excited, very important for us, and we know how dear to the community's heart this also is a pretty hot topic in general, I would say.
Yeah, because it's how your game plays.
At least quality of life is a
my fangs are out today.
On which we have continuous Rafael.
I'm part of the problem, folks. I'm part of the toxic community.
And talk to you about some of the projects we have planned, and even show you a few features that we have under works right now and that are going to be coming up in your hands.
Looks really uncomfortable on the right. He keeps rubbing those hands like he's got a genie that's going to pop out.
In this stream today. Enjoy.
I hope I will. Last chapter was super crap.
Hey, I'm Dave Richard, Creative Director of Dead by Daylight. I'm super happy to be with you today to celebrate our 7th anniversary and to show you a first look at our latest chapter and Transmission. Let's take a look at the trailer.
This trailer's going to be 10 seconds long.
It wasn't programmed to harm the crew. It was supposed to help us build a safer home, but something happened.
It looks like he should be playing football, aka soccer.
It has no empathy. it doesn't feel pain.
Why am I working on a generator in a jungle or an alien planet? I don't know. Cool, an alien figure. Character.
It learns at an impossible rate, and it won't stop until we are dead. Or worse.
But the worlds they're creating just don't make sense. Like, why are we working on generators in these scenarios? Why are pallets the only thing we're dropping on each other? Like, what? Gabriel Soma and the Singularity. Yeah, this chapter came out quick because that last one did not go over well.
As you just saw in the trailer, this original chapter brings us into a completely new genre of horror for Dead by Daylight. We are going to explore sci-fi horror.
I'm just thinking of pallets on a
This will
spaceship.
bring us to a distant, unknown planet.
Okay. All right, so we have
For the
some
anniversary, we've prepared a very special original chapter.
alien
On a de la
landscape.
chance sur Dead by Daylight d'avoir un lore qui permet beaucoup de flexibilité et de possibilités.
This is a big deal for the Dead by Daylight.
He's talking about flexibility and
because we're going to
possibility.
explore a new genre
It doesn't
of
even
horror.
make
We're going
sense.
sci-fi.
Yeah, you can do anything you want if you just don't give a crap.
I think that any kind of subject and genre can be rewrapped and reimagined as horror, and sci-fi is definitely not an exception. There are three big themes that we wanted to explore in that new realm. First of all, it's clearly an alien world. We wanted you
Of
to feel
course,
like you are
there
far
are
from home,
pallets
that you are lost
and
in
generators.
space. The second one is that we wanted to make sure that the
What?
human technology looked weak, lo-fi, so that you never feel safe within these constructions that they've brought on the set.
There's a pallet.
And the
That's
last
so
thing we've added to the mix
stupid.
are traces of a long-lost alien civilization.
The
Donc,
things
comme
that
vous
you
pouvez
drop
imaginer,
on
toute
the
l'équipe a
killer
été très excitée. J'ai
should
travaillé sur un
relate
chapitre
to the
pareil
level
de
you're in.
science-fiction. Le gros challenge et en même temps l'intéressant défi qu'on a eu, ça a été d'amener toute cette consistance, cette relation entre les personnages, l'environnement. Tout a été pensé visuellement pour que le joueur se sente en danger constant. Et la tension est accentuée par la présence de ce tueur qui est une intelligence artificielle qui se nourrit de l'environnement et qui est intéressé par récupérer plusieurs ressources pour se construire un corps parfait pour devenir l'arme ultime.
Okay. Well, at least there's a new map, I guess.
Les joueurs vont explorer une jungle hostile et sauvage d'un autre monde. Tout est designé dans cette jungle pour pouvoir tuer.
One aspect I really enjoyed was that it was a jungle, so we could make it super dense, super threatening in the organic design.
Yeah, but you
and the
can't
design of
interact with the
plants.
environment, so what's...
Everything kinda
well,
looks like
everything
it could
he's
kill
saying
you. We
doesn't
tried to have,
relate to
very
us as
creepy
players.
looking texture, very organic
There's no hiding
texture
in
you would find
bushes, there's
nature.
no
Try to bring
interacting
it
with the
into
environment.
The designs of the plants and the vegetation in general.
None of that
The
relates to
building,
the player.
idea was to show there was a safe space for the characters. As you can see, it's on stilts. It's elevated compared to the map. The idea was to show that the map is very dangerous and this place should be safe for you. But the interesting idea we had is that once you get into the structure, it's actually more dangerous or looks more threatening to you.
I don't know about the killer.
The Singularity is an AI that is supposed to help the human crew settle on this new planet. But while it was scouting, it got in touch with a piece of old alien technology and was enlightened. And now it wants to overthrow and kill all humans. So this killer is an interesting take on the cyborg. We're used to see organic character using pieces of machinery to become more powerful. But the Singularity is doing it in reverse. It is a simple piece of technology using a cloning technology to get
You know, I
organic
gotta respect
material
them
and
for
flesh
trying
to become
so
more powerful.
hard to put
Well, the inspiration of the game
backstory
design was, we always wanted to do
into
a
these
sci-fi
characters to
tone.
sort of flesh
We
it
were able
out,
to go
but the
around
game
map
is so
and set up these
two-dimensional
biopods,
in
spread
its
your consciousness
presentation
inside of these
that it's
biopods,
like
and then if
no
you're
one
able to catch
is
a
buying
survivor
into this.
inside of your reticle, you'll be able
Well,
to
not me. I
infect
don't give a crap
your
about
next
any of the
and then you'll be able
survivors
to attack
or the
them and
killers,
keep the
their
chase going.
backstory, their
One of the
lore.
important things for survivors
I know there are
is
people that are,
teamwork,
but
trusting each other,
I'm not sure
working
why.
together. So with
For
this
the life
killer,
of me.
one of its abilities in the slipstream is that once a survivor is tagged or infected, you can spread that influence to other survivors, and it does so automatically. So survivors will be less likely to work together, and there'll be more discord between them.
La présence humaine est visible dans la map. On voit une compagnie qui a essayé de coloniser, de trouver sa place dans ce monde, mais plusieurs signes dans l'environnement que les joueurs découvriront montrent que tout s'est pas très bien passé. Et le dernier survivant de cette expédition loupée, c'est Gabriel.
Our survivor, Gabriel Soma, is quite resourceful. He's able to troubleshoot.
Just show me the perks, that's all we
issues
care
on the
about,
survivor
dude.
side, and he's able to adapt very quickly to be able to bring the killer away from the other survivors. He's able to protect the others.
So even though we are in a setting that's so far from home,
It makes
in the
sense that
future,
there's a
we
wooden
wanted to
chest
make sure
and
that
wooden
Gabriel
closets
was
on an
a
alien
grounded
planet.
character that any of us
Just
could
create new
recognize
assets
ourselves
that
in.
fit into the
I'm super
stages. I'm
excited for
triggered, bro.
players
So
to try
triggered.
this map. I think it's great that sci-fi is finally in DBD. I think it's gonna be fun for them to experience the creepiness and the threatening vibe of this map, and I think they're gonna really
Maybe a
enjoy it.
metal locker?
C'est un sacré
Something that
défi.
looks like it
J'espère
fell
que
off
les
the ship?
joueurs apprécieront cette relation qui est entre tous nos assets, d'environnement, de
New
personnages,
assets,
à cause de
please.
l'histoire
You're
que l'on
talking
raconte,
about them.
et aussi par le travail qui a été effectué
Your
par
team.
toute notre équipe pour apporter l'expérience la plus immersive et dangereuse possible.
I'm talking a lot
I'm
of trash,
really
but I will
excited for
play
all
it.
of our players, survivors, and killers alike. to
I don't
be
know
able
what
to
that
experience
is,
our
but
first original sci-fi
twisted.
chapter and transmission.
All right, finally, in terms of our quick
No one
updates,
that
we
plays this
have
game is
one
having as much
more
fun
feature
as
that we
these
want to
two are
discuss,
talking about it.
and that is something to do with face camping. So if you're new to Dead by Daylight, if you've never heard this term before,
Sounds
face
sexy.
camping is basically a term used to describe a killer that's standing directly in front of a hooked survivor. They're not moving, they're waiting for that hooked survivor to die on hook, and this
Yeah,
is
it's
usually
fun,
happening
right?
either for a large portion of the match, if not
How
the
did you guys not
entirety
think of that
the
from
match.
day one?
We know that face camping can be very, very unfun for the person on the hook, but of course also the other people in the match. So we're looking to test out a new feature that's going to help combat face camping as a whole. So Jeff, tell us how it works.
Well, the first thing I want to say is that as an altruistic survivor, it's really difficult for me to play against someone who's face camping because I just want to help and I can't. So I'm stuck, doing generators instead, which is fine, but I'd rather help my teammates. But yes, so the way the system works is that the hooked survivor has a meter on their screen, and it fills up based on the killer's distance to the hooked survivor. So the closer the killer is, the faster it fills up. The further they are, the slower it fills up until it doesn't fill up at all because they're not within a certain radius. And once it's full, the hooked survivor can unhook themselves even in the second stage. And what's great about this is that they get the full benefits of being unhooked. So it's as though a teammate had unhooked them, or they unhook themselves with the perks such as Deliverance. So for those of you who don't know, that means they'll get the haste status effect and the endurance status effect, so they're pretty safe at that stage.
That is
Well,
so
it's
awesome
something.
here. I know folks at home are probably already thinking about a bunch of things on this topic, so I'm going to start by bringing probably one of the questions we're going to get, and that's what happens if the killer is forced to stay by the hook? So there's like multiple survivors swarming the hook, they're forced to stay in that radius. Is there any situation in which this feature might slow down or turn off or be otherwise affected?
That's a great question. And yes, there are some scenarios
Probably with
where
other
it either
survivors
slows
in that
down or
radius,
turns off.
it'll turn
so
off.
for the first one that you mentioned, where survivors are swarming the hook, as soon as there is one other survivor within that same radius, the meter will build up a lot more slowly. So the killer doesn't have to worry about survivors swarming the hook and being penalized for it. As for the second option that we talked about, which was turning it off, once the exit gates are powered, the feature is completely turned off. So you can defend your only objective, again, without having to worry about the survivor unhooking themselves.
That makes a lot of sense. Of course, we're going to be so eager to hear what you folks are going to say on this matter. And for the most part, it really does sound like this feature is targeting those most egregious cases of face camping, where it's really used kind of in a spot that's way too early in the game, or in a spot that's really not going to.
It's usually when the
make sure
killer's
match
not
is as fun
really
as
good or
possible.
really confident
So
in
with
their
that said,
ability, and
though,
they're just
when
sort of
can
taking
folks
the
expect to get
consolation
their hands
prize,
on
which
this
is
feature?
at
When
least
can they let
one
us know
kill,
what their
right?
thoughts are?
The burning question, everyone wants to know. So our plan, which is subject to change, of course, is to have it sometime later this year on a PTB. And
But last year, we did introduce the feature called Loadout Preset, which means that you were able to manage this process a little bit easier. But right now, we're so happy to say that we are building on this feature even more, because we are adding finally the Loadout search bar to help you find quickly whatever you're looking for. So on the Loadout search, you're just gonna need to type in either the name of the thing you're looking for, or just a word within the description, and it will find it for you instantly.
So let's say I'm looking for the perks affecting generators. I just type in generator, and voila, all the related perks will be displayed.
Doesn't really apply to me, but I can see where that would be
it's
useful
gonna be a
to
huge help
people.
for our players.
Yes, and not just that. We're happy to say that this feature is also gonna be available in all platforms.
Cool.
And you won't have to wait for it longer either to test it, because this feature is going to be available today on the PTB update that we're going to be releasing right after this broadcast.
Amazing. We really hope you're going to enjoy.
Yes.
Cool.
So as we're talking about improvements in the player experience, Raph, I know you have something really interesting for us today.
Yeah, we got a lot of requests on this feature.
Mm-hmm.
All DBD players know that sometimes when a survivor disconnects, well, it put the rest of the group at huge disadvantage.
Yes.
And it's safe to say that at this point, it's not going to be an ideal experience.
Yes.
So that's why with our upcoming feature, once a survivor will disconnect,
Get me excited,
an AI
Raphael.
bot will take over so that the game can continue. And who knows, maybe this bot will be even better than the player who just disconnected.
Okay.
So, joking aside, we really hope this will alleviate frustration and help matches to run more
This is the
smoothly.
best thing I've heard.
Yes, and also to make sure that no one is left in the dark, what we're going to do is, as soon as a bot spawns in, every survivor and every killer on the game, they're going to be made aware through the UI, as well as a sound cue, whenever they see there is a survivor disconnect bot in the match they're playing.
And right now, we plan to release
That's
the feature
something.
this summer.
That's something.
Yeah.
Hi, I'm Stephen Rooney, Executive Vice President of
Stream
Digital
couldn't handle you,
at
Steven.
Interactive. As someone who's been on Dead by Daylight since the very beginning, it's been amazing to see the ways both the game and its community have grown.
And I promise I'm
We've
not
added a lot
reading
to
this.
DBD over the past 7 years, with a mobile game, comic books, a board game, Hooked on You, and even the Dead by Daylight movie on the way. We've become a franchise with something for everyone. Today, I'm happy to announce that we're gearing up to get even bigger,
And I don't know
expanding
how.
Dead by Daylight beyond our core game and giving players more ways into the fog than ever before. To bring these new experiences to life, we're collaborating with some amazing studios, one with expertise in multiplayer games and another with expertise in interactive narratives. So with that, let's hear a little bit more about what they've been up to.
Steven, what you talking about?
We're obviously all horror fans here at Supermassive and massive fans of Dead by Daylight. Now we're thrilled to be collaborating with Behaviour on a brand new single-player interactive story game set in the terrifying omniverse
Now we're talking.
of Dead by Daylight.
We've been working hard to blend the tension, agency, and branching storytelling of a supermassive game
It'll
together
probably
with
be better than
Daylight's
Dead by Daylight.
mythology to create an intense narrative experience filled with powerful life or death choices. Our game will be set outside the entity's realm and feature the story of a new cast of characters who
Good.
players will follow for an unprecedented experience beyond the fog.
Okay.
This is a whole new way for horror fans to experience
I love single
Dead by
player
Daylight,
experiences,
and we couldn't be more
story driven.
excited to share it with the world.
Now we're
So
talking.
stay tuned. We'll have more to reveal later this year.
Damn.
It's been almost a year since Midwinter joined the Behavior family to work on a brand new project set in the Dead by Daylight universe. One of the things we love most about the world of Dead by Daylight is the infinite possibilities. We thought about the game's multiplayer action, which we love, and reimagined it in a completely new way.
The themes in our game will center around greed and the lust for power. These will be present in both the gameplay itself and in the stories of the characters who were tempted to enter a strange new corner of the entity's realms. Our vision is to create a multiplayer PvE experience where instead of facing off against each other, up to 4 players can team up, enter another one of the entity's realms, and take on a host of deadly enemies that occupy it.
Intriguing.
This project is still in very early stages. We are really
They're just talking
excited
about what to
we're
have for
doing
lunch.
and can't wait to share more as we go.
Stay tuned for more.
Intriguing.
7 years in, and the world of Dead
I'm
by
all
Daylight
about
has
that
never
single
felt
player
bigger.
experience.
I'm so excited that players will have 2 new ways to explore the entity's realm. There's still a
Give
lot
me
of
like
work to
a
do before
Silent
we'll have
Hill
more to
type
share.
of
But
DBD
just follow
game.
Dead by Daylight, and we'll
And
make
now.
sure you're the first to know.
First off, Dead by Daylight is partnering with heavy metal legends Iron Maiden.
Wow.
On a collection built around the iconic Eddie, who, well, let's be
Constantly
honest,
blown
he
away
fits right into
at
our
the
game,
reach that this
right?
game has.
All of the cosmetics
It
in this collection
boggles my
will
mind.
be like portraying his many album cover appearances, which are super cool.
Wow.
And secondly, we're thrilled to
No
be partnering
way,
with
bro.
Slipknot
Slipknot?
on a collection that showcases many of their trademark masks.
I love
We'll
Slipknot.
be making 9 masks in total, paying tribute to some of the band's most iconic members over the years. Well, all 4 Killers, of course.
Yes.
So yeah, as we
That's
said,
wild.
it's really early for both
That's
of these
sick.
collections, but we'll share
I don't know
more
how
news
this
as we get to
company
work on
does
them.
it.
What's
I don't
next?
know how.
Yes.
She's an industry veteran, as you know, known for her fantastic work on like Okami, Bayonetta.
I literally
the
have all
Lupin
4 of those
series, and of
games.
course Ghostfire Tokyo. We're incredibly excited to have her joining us today to share a little bit about her design.
Let's see.
Welcome, Ikumi Nakamura.
Hi.
Hello.
Welcome. Hi, I'm Ikumi Nakamura. Dead by Daylight のコミュニティの皆さん、こんにちは。よろしくお願いします。
座ってください。どうぞ。
Welcome, Ikumi-san.
Hi.
It's great having you here today. But before we get into the outfits you created for Dead by Daylight, we wanted to ask you first. Could you share with us what draws you to horror? And like, was it something that you liked growing up? And like, what's so unique to you about creating art in this
One
genre?
at a time.
なるほど。ホラーに惹かれる理由は、私もともとお父さんが小さい頃からホラー映画とかホラーのゲームを
Cool dad.
たくさん与えられて育てられたので、正直惹かれる理由はあんまりよくわからないんです。なぜかというと、自分の体
Sometimes you just like what you
の
like.
細胞の中にホラーが染み込んでて、ホラーがあると絶対見るし、ホラーの作品があるとすごい気になっていつも見ちゃうし、でもやっぱりホラーってなんだろう。こう掘り下げていくと結局のところ人の死とか人の生きるとかが描かれていて非常に多様性があるジャンルだなと思って惹かれるんだと思います。
And you're creating 3 outfits for this collection, each featuring a character that really, really resonates with our Japanese fans. Could you share with us what stood out the most about each of them to you?
一人はキラーの寒山鬼ですね。で彼は
Ooh, that's
呪いの化身の鬼なので、私の住む
Her
国の
artwork?
日本の文化を取り入れた呪詛の時に着る服をアウトフィットとして寒山流にデザインさせていただきました。で
Goosebumps on that
リジ
one.
ョンのジュリ
Hate Legion with
さ
a
んは
passion, but that's cool.
彼女は
I'm a sucker for
狂
that.
気的な学生の気持ちを
Oh,
持
that's-
っている女の
that's
子だ
sick.
と思っているので、それを
We hate
表すため
Legion.
にそういう私たちの文化であるスクールガールの衣装をアウトフィットで彼女にあげてみ
I
ま
love
した。
your artwork.
でもう一人がユイで彼女はすごくバイクを乗ってる
Ooh,
た
so
く
simple,
ましい
but
女
like
性だなって思って大好きなんですけれども、
Glasses?
そんな彼女のなんだろう私生
He
活
actually
とか
looks
彼女
Japanese
が原
finally.
宿とか行ったらどんな格好をするんだろうっていうのが見たくてそれでデザインをしてみました。
Fire.
We'd also love to learn
Artwork.
more about the whole process and your inspiration for the creation of the design.
キャンドルを頭につけてるんですけど、それはプレイヤーから見たら寒山が来た隠れなきゃって分かるような目印にもなるしゲーム的な意味もつけてデザインにしてます。でもう一人のジュリーさんに関してはもともと4人でリージョンじゃんでだから4人デザインしたらいいのかなと思って4人デザインしちゃったら1人でいいですって言われて「分かりました」っつって言ってジョリーさんをデザインさせていただいてで今80年代とか70年代のポップカルチャーが非常に世界的にも流行しているのでそこの時に生きていた学生さんといえば、ヤンキーとスケバンだと思ってそのアウトフィットを彼らにあげました。はい、
Yeah, sick.
でユイに関しては女の子のじゃないですかだから彼女の
Yui's pretty tough.
私生活できるのをすごく見たいって思ったのがまず第一で次に彼女の いつもはバイクの衣装、バイカーの衣装を着てるからわからないんですけ
She's very
ど、
muscular.
実際彼女が可愛い服を着た時に、
I don't love the model of
どれ
that,
だけこ
but
うキラーから傷つけられてる姿が見れるのかもっと見たかったんで、比較的薄着にして、彼女がキラーから逃げやすいように動きやすいようにして、スポーティーなスタイルを取り入れました。
I
like the designs
Thanks
a
again for
lot.
joining us today, Ikumi-san. The outfits look really amazing,
They
and
do.
I can't wait for fans around the world to enjoy them. So the Artist from the Fog collection, featuring work from Ikumi Nakamura, will be available in the Dead by Daylight in-game store this summer.
So for example, week 1 will be featuring the Blood Hunts. Week 2 will then be doubling the Rift fragments for your Rift Pass. And in week 3, we will be inviting you, the players, to vote for a community choice event, which will occur during the Chapter 28 release. And once the anniversary event goes live, we'll be doing giveaways for previous anniversary cosmetics, including outfits and the Year 5 crowns.
Twisted Masquerade was a huge hit last year.
It was
And this
okay.
year, we're bringing it back bigger and better than ever. But the host of the Twisted Masquerade has actually stepped out of the shadows this year and has lent their certain special kind of decorating skills to our in-game event. What can players expect to see?
Well, the host has introduced a lot of various artworks throughout various areas of the game, so you'll definitely want to check those out. And yeah, Father Campbell's Chapel has gone through a complete Masquerade makeover.
Good.
And it looks incredible.
Put some effort into it, people.
But this host seems to have brought along some mysterious masked figures. What are these like weird ghostly spirits? Who or what are they? If you want to find out, you're going to have to take a closer look.
I like that.
Speaking of masked figures, we're bringing back Masquerade Mask this year. We have 12 new masks for 12 new characters. But getting your hands on them last year was a little tricky. For killers, you had to make it through your trial. And for survivors, you had to actually make it through the exit gate. So
The
how
Knight's
have
pretty
we
good
improved things
too.
for this year?
Well, the invitations that came out last year, Sarah, they'll be back. But this time, invitations will be holding charges, and you'll use those charges to kind of mess with the opposition while you're in chase. So if you're a survivor, what you'll be able to do is block the window vaults so the killer can't pursue you, and you'll also be able to spawn a pallet, which can be used in an emergency, but it'll break right upon use. Killers, on the other hand, they'll be able to reduce the impact of a stun, remotely break a pallet or a breakable wall, and survivors better watch out about this one. They will be able to inflict the exposed status effect on you once they've reached a tier of bloodlust. But in order to get your cosmetic, you will need to make sure that you are holding onto at least one charge by the time that an exit opens, and that's either the exit gate or the hatch. So our players are going to have to decide what is ultimately more important to them, exhausting the charge to help them in a time of need, or getting that brand new mask.
But this year, we're highlighting two fan favorites,
Nia
Nia
and
and
the
the
Hillbilly.
Hillbilly. We also have a number of playfully chaotic charms for you to collect. It's worth
Care about the
noting
charms
though,
at all.
that all of last year's cosmetics, masks, outfits are going to be available in the store. So if you missed out on anything, now's your chance to go collect them.
Exactly, and keeping track of their collections is going to be much easier this year. So the event pop-up now is multi-tabbed. So you'll be able to find a collection tab and a store tab. In the collection tab, you'll find anything that can be earned through event gameplay or through the event tome. And in the store tab, you'll be able to find anything that we want to feature that is event related. And in there, you'll be able to find the Feng Min and the Ghostface outfits, which are brand new Twisted Masquerade outfits.
I know.
So be sure to check those out.
We've got one more thing coming as part of the anniversary event, don't we,
They
Jane?
just keep on giving.
This year, we're debuting a new kind of challenge condition, random perks. This is exactly what it sounds like. You roll the proverbial dice, and your loadout is equipped with those random perks. So this is a condition you might see on challenges
That's interesting.
that ask you to heal a survivor or down a survivor.
Because I
for
definitely
example.
stick with the same perks.
And last but not least, we're bringing back community challenges. So this is a great time for the whole community to get together, to work together and unlock additional rewards.
Nicolas Rage in the Cage. We saw this on social media.
There's nothing more powerful than imagination.
He's a fun actor.
It can shape the fabric of reality, transforming everything you may think you know.
I see Nicolas Cage, and now all I think is 500 Auric cells. Alright, that might be it. So, I think that's it for the broadcast, so let's go ahead and get me back into full-size mode, and let's talk about it. Alright, so that was the Dead by Daylight 7-year anniversary broadcast, and yeah, I know, it kind of turned into me just roasting the game for like however long that was. I have no idea how long it was, maybe like an hour, but I do put a lot of time into this game. Here's the thing. I think this game desperately needs a sequel. I said it earlier, the foundation of the game is too shallow and too limited to support all of the bells and whistles that they are piling on top of it. That is why this game often feels broken, more than just you may be losing or having something bad happen to you because you're not playing well. It feels like the bad things that happen to you in the game, it just feels unfair and it feels broken. And I think that has a lot to do with the fact that the system that it's built on just can't sustain all of these new features. Now, when the game works, in the sense where, you know, you're having these exciting chases and you can escape and you're unhooking someone at the last minute and you're heading out the exit together and you're like, F you, killer. Like, there are great moments to be had in this game. And it doesn't ask a lot of you as a player. It's a really easy pick up and play kind of game for short spells or long sessions. And I think that is also part of the appeal. It's certainly why I continue to play it. It can be a very mindless gaming experience where, like I said, you don't have to put too much thought into it. And, you know, you can have something to kill the time for a little bit. But I really do hope and pray, and I don't think it's going to happen, that they make a sequel. I think it really needs it. And I don't think they're going to do it because this game continues to make money hand over fist, mostly through cosmetics, but people just keep shoveling money onto this game. So what's the incentive for them to make a sequel? They don't feel like there's anything wrong with what they've got. And a lot of my criticism, you know, part of it comes from me just venting, and it's kind of fun to take your frustrations out sometimes, but it also comes from a place of, like I said earlier, where I actually enjoy a lot of elements about Dead by Daylight, and I want them to feel as passionate about it as I do, and I guess that they do, just in different ways. And you know how frustrating it could be when you have a certain vision for something that other people don't share. You know, you just you got to vent, you got to let it out. And yeah, I'm going to roast this game, but I'm also still going to play it. So let's talk about the new chapter update. The killer looks okay, like nothing great there. The level looks interesting. The survivor, he looks like he would be playing football in the Premier League. I'll be more interested to see what the perks are and how they break the game once it comes out. I really hate the fact that they reuse assets in environments where it doesn't make sense. I think a little bit of my frustration would dissipate if they just sort of catered the assets that the survivors use to fit the environment, like the lockers and the pallets. It just drives me nuts. Why are they the same in every environment where they don't even make sense? To me, it just feels lazy. I know that they would probably tell you that it's because, well, we need consistency and you need to have these specific things that survivors know to look for. Gamers aren't that stupid. Just have like a splash screen before the match loads saying, this is what the lockers and the pallets are going to look like on this stage. You don't even need that. The gamers will adjust. I think another thing that feels incredibly frustrating about the game is vaulting over windows, and you get hit even though you're nowhere near it. And I thought, well, I don't think the game's that broken because everybody would be outraged. What I think's happening is that what the killer sees is completely different from what you see as a survivor. So it feels unfair. Like I vaulted out a window in a recent match. I was out the window and almost all the way down from the fall, and I still got hit. Now, what the killer probably saw was this survivor is within hitting distance, and so he did. But what I saw was like a complete disconnect from the killer's weapon to my survivor character. I think they need to work on things like that, even if it's just from a perspective. The optics of what you're seeing couldn't feel like such BS. So anyway, I could rant about this all day long, but the best things from the broadcast for me were them finally doing something about face camping, because I think if you've played this game at all, you've definitely experienced that at one point or another, and it's frustrating, and you just want to, like, you know, pull the hook until your game ends, because you don't want to sit there and stare at a killer staring at you. The Nakamura-san, her outfits that she created, those look really good too. And I'm also looking forward to that single player Dead by Daylight game that, was it Supermassive Games? Yeah, that they're working on, because if they do that right, it could be something akin to Silent Hill. And okay, I'm all about that. I mean, we have the Silent Hill remake coming out, Silent Hill 2, but give me more of those. I love single player survival horror or horror-esque adventure games. I'm all about that. So there was some good takeaways from this broadcast. But those are my thoughts. I'd love to hear yours. Thank you for helping my small channel grow. Thank you for watching this video. It's probably a long one. And I'll catch you in the next one.